If you're, say, a drug addict or a sex addict, that means your body is wired right now to be that way. When you were a child, you did not need to perceive bad in order to perceive good. This whole black-white, yin-yang, good-bad balance of the equation is insanity. It's a computer trying to assess itself. That's what it sees. All the results of creation, not from the creation point of view. When you were young, you had to be taught to view things as good and bad, right and wrong. Then once you got hit with TV, Barney, Elmo, Sesame Street, Disney, bye-bye. And that's when you start being selfish. The more TV you watch, the more toys you get, the more all the stimulation from this cancer. And pretty soon the child starts saying things like, mine, before they were quick to come up and just offer it to you and to share. You didn't need to perceive bad in order to perceive good. That's why you have drug use, gambling, sex addiction, anything like that. The escape from reality. You have to perceive bad, and it's a polar, it's a backlash. It's the pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain is what motivates everybody. Like robots. But as a child, you can't remember anymore. The reason you weren't compelled to drink, before you hit puberty, you weren't, most of you, unless you were abused, which isn't your fault, but if you weren't out trying to get laid all the time. Question. When were you happier? Then or now? Do you remember when you were young and before you were tarnished with, and I'm speaking to older people now, because kids are less, they're hit with sexuality so early now in so many ways that the innocence goes early. What used to be a crush in 6th grade to somebody in their 30s, children today would have to think in terms of 1st grade. More access to porn, more sexual, stimulation subconsciously and everything. But do you remember when you were young and you had that crush? That you loved somebody. You just loved their creation so much. They just did it for you. There was something about that girl, or if you're a girl, that boy, that made your heart go pitter-patter. And did you ever have dreams about them? I remember that. I remember being in love with this girl in elementary school. And my dreams were not fucking her. I had dreams of holding her hand. And that was more beautiful and pleasuring, had much more pleasure associated with it than getting laid. I hadn't had sex yet. I didn't know what it was like, but it was like something was wrong with that. I had such a crush on her. I remember on Valentine's Day I would show up at her, just a little kid like 5th grade, and my dad would drive me to her house, and I'd go up to her door all nervous, and I'd have this giant heart full of chocolates and perfume or whatever I thought I was supposed to give her, and she'd answer the door, and I'd be just overwhelmed, That was the love in me. Now, they'd already tried to take it away, so I didn't have the self-esteem that I have now that's being repaired. I mean, I've had self-esteem my life, but a lot of it was based on my mind. I thought I was smart. Yeah. Anyway, that's better than any lay I've ever had. I remember when I first had my first experience of detached sex. This girl named Carla, and I knew her well, but I knew I didn't love her. And we just had sex, and I remember driving home. I was 18. And I remember thinking to myself on the highway, I just did apparently the most intimate thing you can do and I feel more lonely than ever. Now that should have been a warning sign to me. But I had this other consciousness that I was not aware of at that time. I had to go through these things. This way I can relate. And I remember that. There was something wrong with it. Nothing wrong with her. Something wrong with that. Like I said before, if you find that moment, find that memory, and you go back in your mind and be there in your mind and bathe yourself in that energy. Imagine taking that energy and having it change your DNA right now. Because that energy, that memory, that moment is a vibration. And correlated to that vibration was a certain genetic code. You know, what do I mean, genetic code? You say, well, that's the DNA. No, no, no. The code is what parts of the DNA are active at any given time. That's the code. And before, when you were younger, it was your love and consciousness that dictated your genetics. So you activate it by that. You need to go back, and then what happens is you find the points of yourself when you were innocent, or more innocent. And you take that, and it will start to change your resonance now. Once you start to change your resonance now, you get a new insight. The insight of your innocence as a child. See, the children have the love in them, but they don't have the experience or the body mass to defend themselves. And so it can be taken away. If you get the innocence back that you had as a child, which you can, with the size and maturity you have now, it's a whole different story. And this is what it means in certain symbolism to say you can only enter heaven as a child. Well, heaven is just where you started from. You just forgot. That's how good it is. That's how good you had it. Then when you gain this new insight, there are all those moments throughout your life that you were embarrassed, ashamed, you felt tainted forever. That I'll never be the same again. And you go back and you understand. And then you can heal yourself back then. Why? Because that moment created an imprint in your DNA, in your field of consciousness. And by going back to that moment and understanding it, and healing yourself then, you erase the current imprint from it now. That opens up even more. Then you go back and get more of that innocence from childhood. Look at old pictures of yourself as a child and look into your eyes. See the wisdom that you couldn't see before. Find those pictures that you were embarrassed of until you can look at them with love. And you start to understand, oh my gosh, now I know what was making me feel embarrassed. And it's not a matter of pushing it away, it's a matter of letting it go, erasing it. Men that were forced to feel feminine don't understand. See, there are things I haven't told you yet. They take, every time, see what you don't understand is this. Every time you have those moments, those salient negative events in your life, you kick that part of you out of your body. There is a part of your soul that is of all time. That slice, you move out of your body, and that's a quantum of energy that could be available to you. That is no longer available to you because it can't get back in. There are fragments of you all around. Some being tortured by this energy connected to you and your body now, so that you act out in response to that torture. And then they force that part of you to watch you act out on this plane against what that part of you knows you shouldn't be doing. Ask any shaman this, they'll tell you that. They know. Your soul is holographic. Just like a hologram, you can cut it into many